that'll stick with you for a lifetime. That it did for me, and I still remember the scene of thunderstorms and sunrise and sunset coming through the atmosphere, the cloud layers, the lightning storms, all just awesome. And I haven't been able to see them anyplace else other than kind of a 60% solution looking out of those cupola windows.
I mean, that's fascinating stuff, and you got me jealous. You probably got all of our viewers jealous too. But so changing gears a little bit, you are training for an upcoming mission to the space station, but it's a little outside the norm of what all of our other crew members are training for, and that mission gives you some vested interest in some of the activities today.
It absolutely does. We at NASA have 4 astronauts that have been identified to fly on the first commercial crew flights to the International Space Station. Those flights will go to space station in an alternative way than what folks typically do. We won't be taking a Soyuz. We'll be taking either a SpaceX Dragon capsule or a Boeing CST-100 Starliner capsule to space station. And so pretty exciting stuff when we get a chance to return launching humans to the Florida coast. That's going to be an exciting times for those of us who've seen it before or seen it both ways, the Soyuz way and the shuttle way. It'll be exciting to see a new way bring crew members into orbit. You mentioned the vested interest that we have in the spacewalk today. Of course, all the work that goes on board the space station is really valuable and really important as we go forward. For us in particular, the preparations that are going to allow an additional docking adapter to go on board the space station will give us a second place to bring those new vehicles on board space station. They won't go to the same place that the Soyuz does when they come up and get close to space station. They have to go to the forward half of the stack and get docked there, and that takes some hardware that's a little bit different than we used back in shuttle days and a little bit different than we use for our cargo vehicles that currently come up on the U.S. segment right now, and the work that they've done today and that they'll do robotically, and then the upcoming EVAs will really give us that second opportunity for a docking location for the commercial crew vehicles.
And so, aside from the work they're doing on this spacewalk, so it all centers around PMA3, that pressurized mating adapter. So they disconnected some cables from it today. What else is on the horizon to get this thing ready for those commercial crew vehicles?
I think the biggest thing that's on the horizon is actually the relocation to a new position on board space station. It'll go up top to provide a docking location that is not in the on the forward part of the space station, but on the zenith or the top part of the space station. For those that don't use our boat terminology for how we talk about where things are on board the space station, but giving us a second location, kind of on a second axis of space station, is going to be the biggest portion of what can be done over the next couple of weeks. And then, of course, just like we disconnected some cables before we could relocate it, we'll have to go out and reinstall some of those connectors and actually add, I believe, some computer processing power to those locations so that we can really get what we need to make that docking adapter be controlled appropriately. The IDA, the International Docking Adapter, when it goes on, it does have some mechanisms that will need to be actuated, and so we'll need the associated hardware to accomplish that.
And so, aside obviously from the work still to be done on board the station, a lot of work being done on the ground to get those vehicles ready and to get the crew ready. How's everything progressing on your end? I know you guys are doing a lot of training, both with Boeing and with SpaceX. How's everything been going?
Everything's been going pretty well. We do have some challenges, of course, as you're building a new spacecraft. You might imagine if you tried to build a house, there might be some things that you figured out along the way that cause you to change your plans a little bit, and so there's always some of that with a new vehicle. So we're going through some of those things, but our schedules are pretty busy from week to week with travel to either Boeing or SpaceX facilities to try to help as much as we can as crew members to give them feedback on how we would operate, if there are things that we could change a little bit that they have in their designs to either make it more operable or deal with some of the challenges as they come forward. We are getting to the point where we'll start simulations of both vehicles, either here at the Johnson Space Center or at the partner facilities, and it's exciting to kind of see hardware as well. So if you travel down to Kennedy, you can see the Boeing vehicle coming together, and of course, if you travel out to Hawthorne, you can really see the vehicles come together out there as well. It's just exciting to be a part of what used to be PowerPoint and computer simulations of things actually turning into metal and composite hardware computer cables all being put in place. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely exciting. Anytime we're launching anything, it's always super exhilarating, for everybody that watches on the ground or through television or whatever medium. And I can definitely say going to see some launches in Florida is going to be high on my list again. So I mean, silly question. You gonna hope to do some spacewalks once you're up there again? Get your great view in once you're back on board the station?
It really would be an exciting thing for me to get a chance to do another spacewalk. I do think that the commercial crew flights that we have coming up are going to be primarily focused on test objectives to make sure that those vehicles are best accomplished, are most prepared to start taking crews to space station. And so I really don't think as the couple of test crews that we have identified so far will be able to do any spacewalks as a part of those flights. I think they're going to be closer to 7 to 10 days, certainly less than a month in duration. And so our real opportunity to do a lot of the science work that we count on the space station crews to accomplish is going to be limited. And we will be really focused on making sure that those vehicles, both their nominal system and their backup systems, are all functioning as well as possible in preparation for future flights, where hopefully they don't have to use any of those backup systems that are in place. But we'll exercise all those things as a part of our flights. And if I do get a chance to do another spacewalk, it most likely won't be as a part of a commercial crew flight, at least one of these test flights.
All right. Well, again, NASA astronaut Bob Behnken giving us a little bit of insight into what life as a spacewalker is actually like and an update on the commercial crew program. So Bob Behnken coming to a space station on a brand new vehicle near you soon in the next couple of years. Bob, thanks so much for joining me today. Always appreciate it. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And we'll look forward to seeing you fly in the near future.
Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate the opportunity. I was happy to see Shane and Thomas get out the door today, and look forward to the upcoming spacewalks as we kind of finish out the activities to make our arrival as successful as it can be. We need all this whole team to accomplish that. We can't do those spacewalks like you have pointed out. Made me a little bit sad that I don't get a chance to do another
not trying to
spacewalk.
hurt your
But
feelings.
you did point that out, and it is absolutely true that it takes the entire team to kind of pull this off, because we can't just do it on our own as folks that are assigned to commercial crew just now.
All right. Spacewalk continues, 3 hours, 57 minutes and counting. Shane Kimbrough and Thomas Pesquet continuing to burn through their timeline.
Station forward. I'm sure I haven't come too close. I get the BRT in my face coming out.
Okay, we...
That'll be fine. That'll be fine. Sorry, Jessica, I take it back. I'll be fine. I thought bend back.
Okay, copy. Yeah, leaning back should help you out.
Okay. Repeating. All right, Jessica, I think I got it for this one.
Okay, good job. With that, then, you can trap the BLT in the crew lock bag door and retrieve the grease gun. As long as you're confident, Thomas, and you don't want to repeat that anymore, we'll go to prep.
Good.
Okay, copy. So you can trap the BLT as you're doing, and then retrieve the grease gun, lock out the RET as desired.
Copy. Again, Jessica, I can see inside of the shroud, which might be killed up, but it helps a lot. It helps a bit.
Okay, yeah, great news.
I got the scoop on.
Copy. We've got a great view of that as well. You have a go to demate the electrical connector.
Okay, looks like it's wired timed down nicely, so give me a minute.
Concur, yeah, we expected it might be the case.